over there in France in a big advance. Little Johnny stood on hand.
Franco-Prussian War was quite different than two previous Prussian victories. During Austro-Prussian War, Germans were equipped with Dreyse needle guns, which were far superior to Austrian rifles. The breech-loading Dreyse allowed Prussian soldiers to shoot while laying on the ground, and 5 times faster than muzzle-loaded Austrian counterpart. After the War of 1866, Dreyse rifle, already 30-year-old design, was still the firearm of choice for Prussian army in 1870. French, on the other hand, were still using muzzle-loaded rifles in 1866, just like the Austrians. After the Prussian swift victory in Battle of Königgrätz, Minister of War Adolf Neil, pressured by Napoleon III, obtained a new weapon for the French army, famous chassepot. It adopted a breech-loading mechanism and was lighter than Dreyse, with much higher range and firing rate. Smaller caliber allowed soldiers to carry more ammunition. New fabric bullet casing, superior to paper casing, was smaller but with higher gunpowder load. Powerful shots of chassepot were demonstrated to a sergeant in 1868 who wrote, "After shooting at corpses, bones have been smashed, veins decimated, muscles torn off the body." Chassepot was piercing bodies easily, leaving holes 13 times larger than the bullet itself. The other deadly French weapon of the Franco-Prussian War was the mitrailleuse, the volley fire cannon, the international competitor of American Gatling gun. This weapon, considered to be the first machine gun in history, could fire up to 200 shots per minute with range of 1200 yards and maximum of 3000. Prussians call it Höllensmaschine, the machine from hell. This means that the French were better equipped than the Prussians for the upcoming war. At this moment, I would like to point a common misconception that Prussians won thanks to their superior weaponry, which was in fact inferior to French. This misconception is widely spread, and even the most well-known state scientific publisher from my country, Poland, the PWN, in their video about the Battle of Sedan said, "Germans were well prepared for the clash of Sedan. German forces were better trained, superior in numbers and weaponry, the semi-automatic rifle." That kind of error hides the true reason for Prussian victory: superior artillery, tactics and logistics. The reason why Prussians still use Dreyse needle guns is because after the year 1866, almost all army financing went to the development of new artillery. C-64, developed by Krupp, was a breech-loading steel gun with range of 4600 meters and amazing accuracy. Standard Prussian light cannon caliber was 6 pounds, where pound is the weight of the shot, and high caliber was 24 pounds, when French light caliber was 4 pounds and high was 12. Thanks to Krupp, German cannons were 3 times more accurate than French and fired twice as fast. Stacked French infantry in trenches was a great target for such artillery, while dispersed German units had much harder to hit. Moltke, chief of German General Staff, saw the opportunity in new technologies. He widely adopted the use of telegraph and pressured railway companies to get ready for mass army movements. This allowed quick information exchange, faster unit deployment, and far more efficient supply chains. On the other hand, French failed to consolidate railway companies, so army movement was slower. Telegraph hasn't been issued as standard form of communication. This means that the French couldn't react in time for an invasion. To understand why France lost the Franco-Prussian War, we have to look at tactics of both sides. In the Battle of Königgrätz in in which Prussians defeated the Austrians has been won by dispersed 20-man platoons of infantry that moved slowly but surely. Germans used the Auftragstaktik, the objective tactic. Each platoon, before the battle started, got their own objective to accomplish and moved independently. Also, Prussian soldier didn't have to stand in line. He could move freely, use cover, and fire at will at all times. This sort of decentralized advances allowed soldiers to attack on the wide front and maximize their potential. The French, however, considered this to be too chaotic, but after the swift victory of Königgrätz, they decided to change their style of warfare to get ready for upcoming war. The new tactic resembled an early trench warfare. Every brigade has been equipped with 1,000 shovels and axes. Soldiers were trained to dig trenches in 25 minutes and to use them for defense. Range of the new rifle and mitrailleuse should give the defenders range and firepower needed to stop the Germans. French soldiers weren't allowed to fire at will though. They would still fire in volleys, from left flank to right, 5 shots at a time. This granted them a huge firepower, but picking a target for 6 companies at once, when facing 20-man dispersed platoons, made volley shooting very ineffective during war. The last great difference between two armies was the use of cavalry. French cavalry still resembled hussars and dragoons of Napoleonic wars, waiting behind the lines to attack the enemy with sabers. Moltke tried to reform cavalry, so it would provide dispersed support for his units, rather than charge the enemy, and it was one of his best decisions. New form of German cavalry provided recon and escorted the infantry. In conclusion, the German army was more prepared to fight in a war than the French.